Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Jeri.
Would you read me a poem?
You know I will. This is my current favorite poem in the world. You know, we always have a current favorite poem in the world. And this is by Danez Smith. Oh, bitch, my bitch my heart, dream bitch my salve, bitch my order, bitch my willowed stream, bitch my legend, bitch like a door, your name means open in the language of my getting by, bitch sesame. Let's get together and paint our faces the color of our mothers. If our mothers were sad men, only soft in bad lights. Let's swirl the deep grape and coffee pencils until we look like odd planets on our way to looking like the daughters we secretly were. Cake and cakes hairy with short of grace. We look terrible when we're the most beautiful girls in the world. Bitch my world, bitch my brother, bitch my rich trust. I'll miss you most when they kill us.
Ooh.
Right? And if you look at the way it appears in a book,
Yeah.
it's a block of text like that. But one evening I wanted to read it for Kelly Reads at Night. So to make sure that I could smoothly go through the whole thing and not get lost in the text, I broke it out sonnet-like.
Oh,
I
no.
just put space between the lines. And it really is a sonnet. It's a 15-line sonnet. I view the last line, I'll miss you most when they kill us, as kind of an elegiac aside at the end of that sonnet. And so, yeah, it just, and when I look at the way the turns come in the poem, it really is a sonnet.
It's
Yes.
beautiful. And I love the repetition in it and just the Danez so like sneakily gets into when I'm like, oh, I'm hearing the rhythm of this great. And then you get into like the secret daughters we were. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh my God,
All the
yes.
feelings.
All the feelings. Yeah. And I love that they like sanctify the word bitch.
Yeah.
Like bitch my willowed stream.
Mm.
That's some Shakespeare, bitch. That is very, very, very beautiful. And yeah, I love the way, and there's a little bit in this, speaking of Shakespeare, it reminds me a little bit of Shakespeare. I took a picture on my phone. It's Sonnet 130. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. So it has that, I'm going to tell you what my bitch really looks like. And my bitch is in no way less beautiful.
Yeah. Like she's complicated. She's a complicated bitch and she's gorgeous.
Exactly. I love what they can do with that poem. And, you know, I've read some of their other sonnets and they're also so beautiful, from Don't Call Us Dead. And I've got a sonnet from Crown I can read you later, and I love it. And it's more like the Shakespeare sonnets that so many of us have like learned from and leaned on. And I like that Danez lets himself have a little more fun in Oh Bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Would you read me another one?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one is from uh, Danez Smith's book, Don't Call Us Dead, which came out before Homie. That last one was from Homie. This one is so Shakespearean to me. If my blood was not a moat, I'd have a son, but I kingdom myself, watch the castle turn to exquisite mush. Look at how easy bones turn to grits, how the body becomes effigy. Would have a daughter, but I am only the mother of my leaving. I sit on jungle gym crying over other people's children. Black flowers blooming where my tears fall. Bees commune at their lips, then turn to stone. As expected. My blood, a river named Medusa. Every man I touch turns into a monument. I put flowers at their feet, their terrible stone feet. They grow wings, stone wings, and crumble.
the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
connection of so much imagery and this like deep aching that doesn't feel abstract is so beautiful with all of those images. And like that to me is Shakespearean. Like when I think of Shakespearean things at it, like writing at its best, I'm like, oh, I can get at like the universality while being speaking to like me and my experience. And it's like, yeah, sitting on a fucking jungle gym as someone for me where I don't have kids, like that can be sad,
Yeah.
but also deeply like moving. I have put myself on that jungle gym, right?
Yes. And the turns they take in that poem, like I'm sitting on the jungle gym and I'm crying, thinking of other people's children that I don't have. And then I'm thinking what happens to other people's children because I'm Black and they're Black. And, and suddenly we have the Medusa mother turning the people they love to stone. Ah, man, there's so
And
much happening there. And it happens with such like ease and elegance. It never like binds itself up in those big turns.
right, it continues moving. And even to that, the beginning doesn't start gently. It starts with my blood as a moat. And that is not a gentle start. It certainly lets the
No,
reader know,
it's
like,
not.
oh, we're in for it. And I'm in for that ride.
So one of the reasons I chose this poem that I just read, the sonnet that I just read, was because it's from Denez's Crown of Sonnets in Don't Call Us Dead. And I love A Crown of Sonnets. And interestingly enough, you were the first person to introduce me to A Crown of Sonnets because you read a couple of your sonnets from A Crown of Sonnets in an Antioch workshop we were in. And that's what
Oh,
got me writing sonnets.
that's
You know,
amazing.
aside from the sonnets I wrote in, junior high and high school,
Right. But the idea of a crown, I am so thrilled.
as am I. Well, okay, so turnabout's fair play. Will you read me a sonnet?
Fair enough. Yes.
Read me a poem.
I have two for you. And actually, since we've been talking about Shakespeare, I feel like every once in a while, I feel like the ladies of his era and before and right after never get their due. So, especially in the world of sonnets. So, I actually want to read. It's Lady Mary Wroth, and I actually did study this around Antioch when I was working on my crown. There's several translations of her work or interpretations, and I'm reading the one that was edited by Josephine A. Roberts. So she wrote a crown, and I'm going to read the first one to you, so we have a non-Shakespeare person in our brains. And this says, "A crown of sonnets dedicated to love. In this strange labyrinth, how shall I turn? Ways are all on sides, while the way I miss. If to the right hand there in love I burn, let me go forward, therein danger is. If to the left, suspicion hinders bliss, let me turn back. Shame cries, I ought return. Nor faint though crosses with my fortune's kiss, stand still is harder, although sure to mourn. Thus let me take the right or left hand way, go forward or stand still, or back retire. I must these doubts endure without ally or help, but travel find for my best hire. Yet that which most my troubled sense doth move is to leave all and take the thread of love."
It's like a little dance as she moves right and left. Like that sonnet is like minuet like. And then, but I to stand alone is hardest, but I mourn. Oh,
Right. I was like, for
like,
all of the
like,
single people out there who don't want to be single right now, anyone who
right.
is in a loveless love partnership, like this is the dance.
And trying, and all the people trying to decide, like, this person seems amazing. And then there's this thing. Am I making a thing or is this really a thing? And, she's got a very elegant exploration of, love sucks.
Love sucks. I'm here for it. I'm here for this person who was writing in the 1500s.
Yes.
And it reminds me of Danez in the way that like they're both writing about love, but such complicated love, and that they are exploring like, what is my place in love, given that and kind of the way they're talking about love, it's not just a solo experience. And the kind of turns throughout, while I think Lady Mary Wroth is like much denser and some of the words are harder to like chew on in our speech, I think, and what we're used to
Right?
hearing on the ear. But I was really surprised when I first started reading her that I was like, oh, I don't get like stuck like I sometimes do in
She's so
Shakespeare.
modern.
Right. Like I don't need a translator for her.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You don't have to go to the Norton notes at the bottom of the page. She's so modern, and she's talking about something that's really universal, and at the same time she's talking from the perspective of a woman, which is very specific, and which, while different from, has more in common with women now than possibly a sonnet written by a man right now. It's just interesting, that
Yeah.
road between the women in that sonnet.
Yeah. Can I read the second one to you?
Please. I'm like a fan.
Let's just read to each other all day, every Saturday. Um, so this is actually from a wreath for Emmett Till. So crowns of sonnets are sometimes also called wreaths. Although I do think this is a little bit specific to Marilyn Nelson. And this edition was illustrated by Philip A. Lardy, and it won the Coretta Scott King honor. So this is it. It's a beautiful book. All of the sonnets are also illustrated, which I just love that like a book doesn't have to just be like a book with words. It can also have this like beautiful interaction with other um, writers. So I'm going to read the first one again. It's a day of firsts for me right now. And just so you have it in mind, I'm going to show you the illustration, which I think is so beautiful next to it.
I have to say, as a teacher and a reader of children's picture books, that I am a really big fan of the occasional poetry book that gives us some art that
Right?
has
And
a
even like
conversation.
though just the spread, I got this book and was like, yes.
Yeah, that's
So
gorgeous.
this book is, or this poem is called Rosemary for Remembrance, Shakespeare wrote. Rosemary for Remembrance, Shakespeare wrote. A speech for poor Ophelia, who went mad when her love killed her father. Flowers had a language then. Rose petals in a note said, I love you. A sheaf of bearded oats said, your music enchants me. Goldenrod, be careful. Weeping willow twigs, I'm sad. What should my wreath for Emmett Till denote? First, heliotrope, for justice shall be done. Daisies and white lilacs for innocence. Then mandrake, horror, wearing a white hood or barefaced laughing. For grief, more than one, for one is not enough. Rue, yew, cypress, forget me nots, though if I could, I would.
One is not enough for you, Rue, Cypress. Like, wow, the rhythm of that is so Shakespearean. That's incredible.
She really holds to this like Shakespearean rhythm and rhyme, in which like I did not in my crown. I That was one of the first things that I was like
Same.
yeah. But I really love the way that she does it, in a way that like, especially at times, because this is for a wreath for Emmett Till, going in, this is going to be really heavy. This is a tragedy. This is an atrocity that is like very much still in the water of us as US people, and that I don't feel like justice has been done in this case. And I certainly think um, like some of this is gonna suck. Sometimes sonnets suck, but I love that she opens this with like, I've got you with the rhythm. I'm gonna hold you and gently rock you.
Yes. Yes.
And it talks about remembrance. And she says like, I'm throwing back to Shakespeare, like she's like, I'm gonna start here, but then she very much makes it her own. Like she doesn't
Yeah,
point out and
absolutely.
stay back there.